sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. One man, one microphone, one mission, one message. True News, the only newscast reporting the countdown to the second coming of Jesus Christ. And now for the most powerful hour on radio, here is end-time newsman Rick Wiles.
This is True News, 1 hour of uncensored news, views, and commentary. Welcome to the program. I'm Rick Wiles. Today is Friday, June 8, 2012. I live daily with Ezekiel 33 ringing in my ears. I can't escape it. It says, "Again, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people, and say to them, when I bring the sword upon a land, and the people of the land take a man from their territory and make him their watchman, when he sees the sword coming upon the land, if he blows the trumpet and warns the people, then whoever hears the sound of the trumpet and does not take warning, if the sword comes and takes him away, his blood shall be on his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet, but did not take warning. His blood shall be upon himself. But he who takes the warning will save his life. But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, and the people are not warned, and the sword comes and takes away any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at the watchman's hand." This radio program was launched approximately 8 months after I resigned as Director of Marketing of TBN in Irving, Texas. Our early listeners know the story. There are many new listeners in recent months, however, who don't know why this radio program was launched. I will tell you this, the Lord birthed this ministry after he gave me a dramatic vision inside the chapel of TBN's International Production Center, located along Highway 183 in Irving, Texas. The Holy Spirit gave me a stunning vision in April of 1998 of America's demise, when he showed me American cities on fire and refugees staggering out of the burning urban centers. God commissioned me that day in April 1998 to warn the American people that time was running out for this nation to repent and return to obeying God's commandments and ways. And I have spent the last 14 years in full-time ministry proclaiming that message and blowing the trumpet. Now, since the beginning of 2012, I have detected a marked intensity in the warnings from God. They are coming to me from various sources and ways. Many people are experiencing disturbing dreams. Others are seeing visions. And in recent weeks, the warnings have taken on an alarming new level of urgency. Reports of prophetic dreams and visions are flooding into my office daily. One reoccurring theme that I have seen in these prophetic warnings that have been forwarded to me are two general dates in 2012. July, August, and November, December. Upon careful examination of these warnings, it appears to me that the Lord is warning his saints that they must have final preparations in place by this summer. I don't know the reason. Perhaps travel restrictions will be imposed. Perhaps it will be the first wave of financial panic. What I do know is that I believe the second date is the fall of 2012. Many of the dreams and visions I have seen in recent weeks and months show great trouble coming to America sometime in November. In particular, the dreams often reference Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving Day holiday. Now, in late May, I received 4 prophetic dreams from 3 people I personally know who listen to the True News radio program. They arrived in my email box simultaneously, and I was stunned by the dire warnings of imminent judgment, bloodshed, and captivity. And let me say this, unless God intervenes and stops it or delays it, I do not believe the USA will be a free nation beyond 2012. I contacted the 3 recipients of these dreams and asked for permission to release them to the general public on the condition I not release their names or places of residence. I posted the dreams, 3 of the dreams, on our website about 2 weeks ago. The first person received 2 dreams 3 weeks apart. This person is a newly naturalized American citizen. The first dream arrived in the first week of May 2012. The second part of the dream came to this person on Sunday night, May 20th. Likewise, the second person received a prophetic dream on Monday night, May 21st. And all of these dreams were sent to me on Tuesday, May 22nd, including the fourth dream that I hope to get to you on this program. Now, do not dismiss these warnings. Instead, seek God with all your heart about what He desires you to do in the coming weeks. Know this, America has forgotten the God who made this nation great, and I believe He will strip away America's greatness, and then perhaps Americans will rediscover the greatness of God in their poverty and captivity. Here's the first dream. The person said, I saw patriots dressed in battle uniform from the 1700s. They were on an island. Their leader was hoisting the American flag, but it went half-mast. Then I saw a man on a balcony looking through a telescope, and I could see these patriots through his lens. He was a dictator, an evil man. The next thing I knew, he had a cannon. He fired at the patriot men. I didn't see them get hit, but I knew they died. Then I was on another island, like a forest. I saw a pilgrim woman dressed in a long black dress. She was with child and looked distressed. She was gathering grain in her skirt. I asked what she was doing. She said she was hungry. She had to feed her baby, but there wasn't much food. She warned me that they were watching her. There were eyes watching us. I felt we were encircled by something like a barbed wire fence. But I knew we couldn't leave the island and we were being watched. Then I realized there were other islands and there were pilgrim patriots on them and they were stuck there. They couldn't get out. They were being watched. It wasn't a good thing to be on these islands. Originally, I thought this dream meant that Christians would flee to the islands but would be trapped as they united to fight the dictator. The second dream, however, revealed that they were not literal islands, but instead they had fled to places they thought were safe zones or places of refuge. Now, the second dream that this person received came on May 20th. This person said, my spouse and I were speaking with some old men. They were good men, kind, very clever, smart men. One talked about how he built his house with his hands. I saw the house. It was made of massive, beautiful wood. It had an ocean front. It was well built. He was proud of the house. Another man who managed to save $1 million in his lifetime told me about his house. He was very old. Then one of them said, they are coming for our homes, you know. Yes, that's the first thing they're taking, our homes. I heard him say, when you hear rumors of that, it will start to get very bad. When that happens, it will get very bad. There was a feeling of anxiety, but we were still very casual, having fun, laughing. But all of a sudden, everything changed. I suddenly saw hordes of people gathered together in some coastal area. In front of us was a city called Christian City. It was what everybody thought was a safe harbor, a city of refuge. There was a sandbar right outside the city. It was an island. It was a city everyone fled to for safety. It was magnificent. It appeared to be fortified. We were assembled with a huge crowd. I knew all these people were kind people. They were Christians. We were, however, like cattle. There was so much chaos. I had trouble thinking. I kept hearing a voice in my head say, go, leave. But I was so confused. The voices of the people were so much louder than the voice in my head. Everybody was saying something at the same time. Then something happened. Suddenly I found myself in a vessel with my spouse and these people. We were treated like cattle, placed in that vessel against our will. There were evil men. I could see their faces, but they surrounded us. They were wearing uniforms. They were armed and watching us. More people were forced into the vessels against their will. None of us could believe what was happening. I was shocked. I then saw the same pioneer woman dressed in black on the vessel. She was the woman I saw in the other dream. She and I were talking. She was telling me something, but I can't remember what she said. I don't think I could hear what she was saying. Then I put my hand on her shoulder or her chest, and I saw the future. I saw her on a bed. She was ashen like a Holocaust victim. I was there with her on her deathbed. She must have died. I took my hand off her, and I was where I was back on the vessel. Suddenly the city in front of us was burning. There were no words to describe the feelings I felt in the dream because my feelings were so intense. It was a feeling of complete and utter fear, grief, deep grief and disbelief. Suddenly I saw a multitude of hands from the people trapped in the vessel reaching for the city. I reached too. We were wailing, mourning, and reaching for that beautiful, beloved city. I didn't want to leave it. I remember thinking, this is America. I just got here. I love this country so much. It's my new home, but now it's gone. It was as if my conscious mind connected that city to America. As our hands reached for the burning city, I saw there were children's hands, small hands, old hands, many hands reaching for her. My spouse told me not to worry. He tried to comfort me that we would escape the vessel and run back to a safe island to hide, but he was trying to calm me. But I knew he was scared too. I knew we would die because there was no way out. There was an indescribable presence of evil. Suddenly all the hands were stretching forth to hold on to the burning city, but we started waving goodbye. We all waved goodbye to the city of America that was burning to the ground. We knew that the evil authorities were taking us away in these vessels. We didn't know where they were taking us. We were very afraid. I couldn't tell which emotion was stronger, grief, dread, or disbelief. I woke up from the dream crying for America. Upon waking up, I was deeply disturbed. I spent the day, Monday, May 21st, in deep prayer and intercession. I believe this is the interpretation the Holy Spirit gave me. It must be God's thoughts because I can't imagine such things. The interpretation: which kingdom do you belong to? The test is here, is the test of obedience. Are you bound to the conveniences of this world? Are you so wedded to this world's luxuries you've known in your lifetime that you cannot let go of it? When you said, Lord, I will follow you to the ends of the earth. I will do anything for you. I will lay down my life, everything. Did you say that out of emotion or did you mean it? The test that is here is the test of true sacrifice. Will you follow the Lord wherever he leads you? Will you follow him to an unknown land where you must learn another people's culture and language that is foreign to your lifestyle? Will you truly trust the hand that leads you, or will you turn it away? The Lord's hand is outstretched, for now his mercy is calling you. That time will soon end. His hand will be outstretched before judgment. Which hand will you take, mercy or judgment? This is the test to see if he truly is your Lord and if you are truly of his kingdom. God weeps over this nation. His heart is broken. He has knocked at the hearts of his people, but they would not listen. Even those who profess to love him in reality love this life more than him. The dreams they claim are his are really their own. They suffer from confusion. Voices, there are so voices, it seems too difficult to discern the shepherd's voice. Voices in your head, voices from the enemy, voices from people who will not let you go of this, who will not let go of this kingdom and will drag you down with them. Voices everywhere. Be still. Listen to his voice. Watch the time. Watch the season. Judgment will strike when you least expect it. People will be merry. They will ignore the air of anxiety. They will speak of the good times gone by. Judgment will strike. Confusion, so much confusion. You will be taken captive against your will. Many good people will suffer. Many innocent people will be killed. Oh, the children, the innocent children who will long to go home. I cannot continue writing what I feel. It is too heavy. The test that will soon be here will split marrow from bone. It will separate his true disciples who will follow him and live from those who will die because of their greed. They follow false dreams and pride of their heart because in their deepest chambers of their hearts they refuse to surrender him. Listen while there is still time. The window is closing quickly. There will be no safe havens. Dreams of a better future. Veneer is ready to break. There is no hiding place in the darkness. There is no future in God's judgment. He calls the righteous out. This is the test. It is the beginning of birth pangs. The world will soon change. Though the great change is near, people are in disbelief. They see only the glory of the past. They long for America's past glory to be their future. This is the test that divides flesh and spirit. The true man, whether flesh or spirit, will decide his or her fate. This nation will soon witness its fall. God's hand of mercy is stretched out for you. Which kingdom will you serve? Where your treasure is, there your heart will be too. Second person who sent me a dream had the dream on May 21st. This person said, Rick, I had this dream last night, early morning actually, because it woke me up when it was finished. It was around 5:36 a.m. It was very disturbing. I felt a great deal of sorrow and mourning when I woke up. It was very heavy. The dream was a series of scenes in which I saw back to back. It made me very sad. Scene 1, a family was sitting at a table, a dinner table. A mom, a dad, a baby in a high chair, 2 small children. They were enjoying the meal. A bomb was placed in the middle of the table, but they completely ignored it. The bomb was round and large, about half the size of a basketball. The family kept eating. At first, the mother and father slightly glimpsed at it, but they ignored it. The children started drawing on it with crayons. The parents were interacting with their children and laughing. Then the bomb started ticking, and the ticking became more intense, louder and faster. Their eating slowed down, and the parents looked at each other in fear. Then the ticking stopped, and the parents grabbed each other's hands and held onto their children, and the bomb exploded. Scene 2. Men were playing in a yard, throwing a baseball. They were playing a game of baseball together. It wasn't professional baseball. It was like a bunch of family members together playing ball. In the middle of throwing the ball turned into a grenade. It looked like a grenade was thrown into the game, and the regular game ball fell by the side. The men at first looked at the grenade but paid no attention to it and continued to throw it. They continued with the game. Then the grenade exploded. Scene number 3. Men were running down a football field toward the goal. People in the stands were cheering. It was a professional football game. As they were running toward the goal, a large missile came through the air, skidded into the dirt, and dug into the dirt beside the goalpost. No one paid attention to it being there. They were so engrossed with the amazing play in the game. The crowd was standing and cheering. I saw a couple of the football players as they were running look at each other and the missile that was buried halfway into the dirt, but they kept running. Moments after the touchdown, the missile exploded. The team was wearing a dark red collar, and I thought I saw gold. Scene 4. Children were playing on the school playground. A fence surrounded the entire perimeter of the school. Suddenly, men dressed in long white gowns and white headdresses started coming out of the woods. Others got out of the cars. They made their way over the fence and surrounded the school. The teachers on the playground watched the men. They had a look of uncertainty and worry, but they did nothing. They just stood there and watched as the children continued to play. It seemed like a loud echoing sound was heard, and then all at once in unison they jumped over the fence, pulled machetes from their gowns, and began their terror. I can't write what I saw. Scene 5. Men and women that looked very ashen and thin were walking toward what looked like like on the outside of a bank. They walked up to the bank and they put their money into a slot that was accepting their deposit. They seemed sad and lifeless. Part of the bank became transparent so I could see in it. It was totally destroyed on the inside. There was nothing. It looked like a bomb had gone off on the inside. It was a bottomless pit. There was nothing there, no floor. I saw the people putting their money into the slot. The money merely floated down into the bottomless pit. I asked the Lord, when these things will happen. I was frightened. I don't want this to happen to us and our children. The Lord said, go back and look again. I revisited every single scene. This is what I saw. Scene 1, the family at the table. They were dressed in sweaters, and on their plates was cranberry sauce. The flowers on the table were not spring or summer flowers. They were dark in color, like fall flowers. Scene 2, the men playing ball were wearing jackets. Scene 3, the people in the crowds at the football game were wearing coats, and some had scarves on. There was a light drizzle of snow. I saw the breath of the players. The next scene, the children at the playground. The children were dressed warmly with heavy jackets. The men at the fence, their gowns were blowing heavily in the wind. The wind was very heavy. The last scene, the people at the bank were wearing coats and jackets. The final scene, I was using my hand to scrape away a thin layer of ice from a window so I could peer through. When I cleared the window, I saw a large city with smoke from its building. I remember saying in great sorrow, "My America, my America." I woke up immediately and felt a great sense of sorrow and mourning. The fourth dream that was sent to me at the same time from a friend, close friend of mine, who listens to True News. He said, and let me point out, he had no knowledge of these other dreams. All these dreams came to me simultaneously in the last week of May. He said in the dream that he was standing in an execution line. He was a prisoner. The man in front of him was decapitated. My friend was the next person in line. But then the dream changed, and his attention was focused on a printed invitation. And the invitation said, "You are invited to the martyr's ball." You are invited to the martyr's ball. My response to my friend was, it was not a commandment. It was an invitation. And I said, if I were you, I would return the invitation. RSVP declined. I'm sorry, I will not be able to attend the martyr's ball. I will be out of the country during that time. It's not a commandment. It's an invitation. Decline it. You don't have to accept every invitation. He was being invited to the martyr's ball. Simply write back, I will be gone during that slaughter. The other dreams, I think, are very self-evident. I think it's very clear. The first dream, the Patriots, they were hoisting the American flag. They were trying to save the country. It was a desperate, vain attempt to save the country. The Tea Party movement, the Patriot movement. But the flag would only go up half-mast. Why? Because it was a state of mourning. But the dictator fired a cannon at them. He killed them. He killed the Patriot men who were trying to save the nation. The Patriot woman, the Pilgrim woman, she was gathering food for her children. They were hiding on an island. These were not physical islands in the sea. These, I believe, represent what people think are safe havens, refuges. I've heard people for years tell me, Rick, there's going to be cities of refuge. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. There's not going to be any city of refuges in America. Do you understand it? What is going to be your city of refuge? Living in a cave while men guard you 24 hours a day? There's a total, complete collapse of society coming. The vessels. What do you think the vessels are? These are the train cars. These are the cattle cars. This is what's going to be hauling the patriots, the Christians, to the concentration camps. The other dream, the third dream, with all the various scenes, clearly. The people were ignoring the warning signs. Bombs were put in front of them. They couldn't, they were in denial. They couldn't deal with the reality of what was taking place. It appears that all these dangerous scenes were around the fall season, perhaps Thanksgiving. People were putting their money into a slot at a bank that didn't exist anymore, just a big hole in the ground. What's God showing us? You're just putting your money into a bottomless pit. My friends, I have spent 14 years warning. The time of warning is over. Unless God sovereignly intervenes very, very soon, I believe we are rushing into imminent judgment in Europe. Nigel Farage said yesterday, a member of the European Parliament, he said Europe is imploding. It's imploding. He's a member of the European Parliament. He said about a month or two ago, he said he believes that they will install a dictator in Europe this summer. We are in a dangerous time in world history. This is one of the most dangerous times in world history. It is not a time for business as usual. Please, take heed of these warnings. And whatever God is telling you to do, make haste and do it now. I'm going to take a break. And when I come back, I'll have a businessman, a Christian businessman, who's going to share with you a dream that he had in 2008. And you know what? The dreams I just read to you, you'll see the connection. I'm Rick Wiles. You're listening to True News. I'll be back in a minute.